kind of even every pub I visit in my constituency, there's a real need for chefs, kitchen porters. Post Brexit, they can't get the staff anymore.
Yes, we're doing something about the post-Brexit realities, I suppose, for a bit of a change. But hello there, and I do hope you're all well. And on Tuesday in the Culture, Media and Sports Committee meeting with the Secretary of State, Lucy Frazer, Labour's MP Rupa asked about maybe when it comes to bringing in workforce from outside the country, that maybe we're being a little bit snobbish about it. Then she quoted some what you might say are eye-watering figures, then again you might not, about what the hospitality industry is suffering from.
As the daughter of an Indian restaurant owner back in the day, he's not here anymore, looking down fondly from above, I wanted to ask about hospitality. I remember coining the word curry crisis, but it's not just Indian restaurants that are having this issue. Just kind of even every pub I visit in my constituency, there's a real need for chefs, kitchen porters. Post Brexit, they can't get the staff anymore. And I think there are figures of how hospitality industries are reporting restricted hours, restricted occupancy, a lot of people going to the wall, going out of business. Is there any scope in reclassifying these as shortage occupations? Because, I mean, that list so far, it seems to be a lot of scientists plus care workers. Surely time for a rethink from Mac.
So, as I was just saying, there are workforce challenges in the hospitality sector, and there are some workforce challenges across government, and the Migration Advisory Committee consultation is ongoing and is going to report later this year, and I will look very carefully at that. We're also working with the sector through the Hospitality and Tourism Skills Board on what more we can do to support using youth mobility scheme routes. This is something that we will look at, but as you know, it's something also that the Home Office have a very keen interest in.
When she mentioned the curry crisis, my stomach started rumbling. I love a good chicken biryani at the best of times. Now, I've got to say, with Lucy Frazer, that was a lot of word salad, wasn't it? I've got to say, there were a lot of words, but not a right lot that she said, really, was there?
You mentioned skills. I mean, there is also the eligible jobs list route. It was a Theresa May thing that there were certain professions that were classified as skilled, so you can come in via that route. And it does seem there's a bit of snobbery there. So, again, we all know that HGV drivers, there's been a shortage of those nationally. They're not on that list. And so, for example, say in hotels and restaurants, it's only the managers that would apply as a eligible job. But to be a sommelier or something, that's quite a skilled, detailed thing to have all the knowledge of those different wines. Or to be a receptionist in a hotel, you might have to have lots of different languages. So that would elevate you above the, I don't know, the security man who presses a button. So I do think we need to think a bit more creatively about what skills are, if you can put in a good word, Secretary of State.
Now, I will say that I've never worked in hospitality, so I'm not too sure whether Rupa is making any sense. If you work in hospitality, let me know if she does. But what I will say is, Lucy Frazer's reply sounds very much like what a typical Tory would say when it comes to problems like this. And friends on this channel, I think you guys will know where I think I'm going on this.
So as I said, we of course need to keep this under review and look at it, but it is also really important to identify that there are 2 million people in the UK who are not in employment, and there are various routes to work and to upskill that I know that the Department for Education are working on, whether that's skills boot camps or whether that's apprenticeships or whether that's T-levels, and it is really, really important and something that you will see in the sector vision in relation to the creative industries, that we ensure that the people who are not currently in work or want to move work or want to reskill or upskill, that we also give them the opportunity to do so.
Yes, there we are. Well, we have 2 million people unemployed. How many of these people, let's be honest, Lucy Frazer, are maybe suffering from long COVID or possibly disabled themselves and will not be able to do this sort of upskilling and training in hospitality. More importantly, if there's so many vacancies in hospitality, why haven't these people who were unemployed taken up these positions? I don't know about you, but I get the feeling that most of these people, they won't be that interested in hospitality, because I get the feeling they would rather be the people eating the food at the table than the ones on the other side cooking the food or serving it. Now, I could be wrong. Now, Rupa now says something, makes a bit of a statement, and this is what I thought. Lucy Frazer's reply was, to me, could have been bordering on the bit of dismissive.
Because I know that at the time I was asking about curry questions, there were curry colleges that were earmarked for our own young people that just weren't pulling in the numbers. And sort of Indian restaurant trade, traditionally they get people from overseas. I do think sometimes these solutions can look good on paper, but if they're not working... I mean, there are some shocking figures from Kate Nichols of UK Hospitality, who's actually my constituent, of sort of how much we're losing. Apparently, 25 billion a year in this sort of reduced hospitality industry that can't get the staff. 7 billion a year in taxes. I'll just make the plea again. There is a sense that list looks a little bit snobby. It looks like it's lots of scientists, the shortage occupation list. Then care workers and health workers have been added, but there aren't HGV workers or chefs or any of those. I do think there's a very strong case for redoing the shortage occupation list. Very pertinent to your department. So,
thank you.
Wow, I've got to say, 25 billion a year due to staff shortages and 7 billion a year in taxes as well. Well, they knew what they were voting for, I suppose. But I get the feeling that Rupa might have a little bit of a point, when it comes to being a bit snobbish. It's like, where are these chefs and heavy good drivers going to come from? Or when Lucy Frazer talked about upskilling and training, who's going to pay for this? Is it the government, the companies? Now, 10 years ago, I looked up about maybe upskilling when I was working for the council, maybe training for heavy goods licence. And when I looked up, I thought, my God, that's not cheap. And that was 10 years ago, like I said. And and I also don't know how much it would cost to upskill as a chef, but I can also imagine that won't be cheap either again. And in a cost of living crisis, high food costs, and if you also have a mortgage, I can imagine your wage packet will not stretch further enough for you to pay for something like this. Now, I don't know whether companies will be happy to pay for this kind of training upskilling, but I can imagine they won't be too keen to, would they? Now, I don't know, I could be wrong, but mate, to do. Let me know down below, and until the next time, I shall bid you farewell and take care, my friends.